Hiya, and welcome back to No More Future, the game that teaches us, The game that teaches us that the best way to play ping pong with your cousin is, that the best way to play ping pong is just call up your cousin and be like, hey, I need you to make this out of ice. Anyways, let's just hop right in. The trek to Nem's place isn't a quiet one, as both you and your aide laugh and argue with each other along the way. Soon the wild autumnal forests of Tulipper Peak give way to the familiar urban jungle of Bloomberg proper. Sometime later, you finally reach your friend's apartment building. The main entrance is open and the way seems clear, so you decide to forego formalities and just step inside. You learned your lesson regarding AIs by now, and the dangers connected to sending the Drake a message through the building's intercom are simply too great. However, just to be safe, you send him a sneaky message through your internal phone before you ride the elevator downwards, not wanting him to be wholly unprepared for your arrival. As you reach the door to Nemeren's apartment, identical to all the others save for the number impressed on it, you're surprised to find it slightly ajar. Hello? Nem? No answer. There doesn't seem to be anyone in the main atrium beyond the entrance to await you right now. Reaching for the door, you hear someone's voice coming from deeper within the house. How many times are you going to keep asking me the same questions? I'm not going back there! You recognize the first. The second, on the other hand. Nem, be reasonable. You can't just abandon everything all of a sudden and expect us not to worry. You honestly have no clue about. It's somewhat similar to the dragons, but more feminine and a little more mature. You never heard it before in your life, though, so you can't be sure. You don't seem to recall Nem mentioning anyone coming to visit him this afternoon, so you're a little stumped as to how to proceed. Nem, it's Isaac. Is it fine if I come in? You hear the bickering continue, yet no one deigns to address you. Your first thought is to leave and return another time. However, you soon find yourself compelled to stay and check on your friend. Against your better judgment, you decide to step inside and see for yourself just what is going on. The apartment looks wholly unlike anything you expected. Even though there isn't much in the way of lighting, it's bright, colorful, and full of all of Nem's favorite things from his old place. As you step into the bedroom where the shouting seems to be coming from, you cannot help but be amazed by what you see. There are computers, monitors, consoles, and handhelds, posters on every wall, and so many plushies laying around you could probably build an army. The gamer den, his old bedroom, was always too small to be. Sadly, it seems like the time to enjoy all this amazing stuff will have to wait. The face. Two people appear to be arguing in the middle of the room. One is your friend, while the other appears to be a relative, perhaps? Try as you might, you can't say. You never did meet any of them, in spite of how much time you spent at the Drake's place in your youth. Nem, I'm asking you to please be reasonable. This isn't a choice you can make right now. The other dragon's agitation is palpable, but she tries to stay as calm and polite as can be as she speaks to your indignated friend. Sorry, but I already made that choice. It's too late for you to try and talk me out of it. Yep, definitely relatives. You're surprised that neither of them noticed you walking in, busy as they are shouting at one another. Because you never told me! I only learned this from Dad the other day, and you've been here for a month! What were you doing hiding this from me for this long? I was going to surprise you later. Surprise me? Have you lost your mind? What made you think that leaving college was a good idea? Not to mention our home. You were doing so well, and now you're telling me you threw it all away? For a shitty job at some downtown cafe? Doing so well? Yeah, tell that to my professors. Nem, I'm serious. We're talking about your life here. You can't just... As if awoken from a trance, the petite dragon finally notices you hanging by the door, as does your friend not long after. Though she spends quite some time trying to come to terms with your appearance, eventually the elder dragon makes a few tentative steps towards you. I'm sorry. What in the world was that supposed to be? Before you can properly introduce yourself, your friend suddenly jumps to your rescue. Oh, him? Yeah, that's Isaac. You know, my old friend. The lady turns to look at the nonchalant Drake, looking thoroughly skeptical. 1, never mentioned that name before. 2, that's a robot, Nem. Android. Your voice is calm and subdued, but it doesn't fail to shock the stranger nevertheless. Not a robot, there's a difference. Yeah, Your friend uses this opportunity to sneakily swing by your side and wrap an arm around you, a smile on his face as he introduces you to the girl. Anyway, Isaac, this is Yume. She's my sister, and I told you about her before, didn't I? I think so. You can't recall any particular instances of that happening. Even if there are, he definitely never told you much about her, or his family in general for that matter. You're quite astounded about how similar the two of them look, especially in spite of Nem's recent total makeover. The chance of 2 siblings sharing the same species is rather low after all. They're practically 2 drops of water. Pleasure to meet you. I'm Isaac. Nem's sister slowly shakes her head at your embarrassed greeting, an indecipherable expression on her face. And Yume, this is Isaac. We're old friends and stuff. What is it with you and having awkward introductions with your friend's sisters? Yume doesn't waste time trying to break the silence left in the wake of the Drake's last statement. That doesn't explain why he's a robot, or android, or whatever. Oh, that, well, let's just say that a few weeks ago he kinda died. As gut-wrenching as it is to say out loud, you figure it's best to just get that trivia out in the open before the cringe becomes too much to bear. Upon hearing you say that, the woman raises an eyebrow. Wait, so you're the... Synthetic? Yeah. She doesn't appear thrilled by the realization, but not disgusted either. Confused is the most appropriate word, perhaps. Alright. And you're here because... Oh, that! You hear Nem's grip around your back tightening a little as he answers his sister's query. I actually invited him to play some video games at my place today. I actually only learned of his condition this morning, you see, and I figured it was the best way to catch up after all this time spent apart. The other Drake's eyes shoot at the ceiling and the sigh escapes her lips as she hears her brother's explanation. Hiya! Of course, video games. What was I expecting? Looking thoroughly done with this conversation, she begins to head toward the exit, prompting you to instinctively get out of her way. Seeing as you've got your priorities straight, I guess I'll leave for now. Wouldn't want to get in the way of your fun and games, you know. As she's about to leave the room, she turns one last time towards her brother. Don't get it twisted, though. We're going to talk about this again. And with that, she disappears past the entrance, her footsteps slowly getting more and more distant. Close the door behind you when you leave. It locks automatically. The Drake closes the door to his room and collapses next to it, holding his head between his hands as he does so. Whatever discussion he's had with his sibling, it appears to have thoroughly drained him. Are you okay? You quietly approach your friend, hoping to be of some assistance or comfort. Though it's likely not as bad as you thought, given that he's already back up with a wide smile on his face. Whew. Thank goodness you showed up. I thought that discussion would last forever at that rate. You're not mad at me for interrupting then? Of course not. I invited you here, remember? She's the one who showed up without so much as warning me first. Isn't that because she wasn't even supposed to know you were here? Sorry for overhearing, by the way. It's cool. And yeah, this was meant to be a secret between me and my parents. Which I guess is no longer so secret, huh? A secret from your sister specifically? Yeah, she can be pretty nosy sometimes. It's not like I don't love her or anything. She's just a bit much at times. While you understand where your friend's coming from, you have to admit that this lady didn't give you nearly as bad a first impression as Daphne did just the other day. Though just as harsh and stubborn, she came across more as an authority figure to respect than a thug to be afraid of. Although you may be biased in this regard, given that she didn't treat you nearly as badly. Anyway, wanna play some video games? There's a new online game I've been blasting through recently that you just have to try out with me. Looks like it didn't take long for Nem to try and change the subject. Not like you mind. You don't feel like it'd be appropriate to ponder or inquire further along this line. Of course. You know I'm always up for that. Awesome. I'll go fetch some drinks and snacks from the kitchen then. Why don't you get the console up and running while I'm gone? Sure. What game do I have to boot up again? It's called Riders of Revenge. Riders of Revenge. Ever heard of that? No. Is it new? About a few months old, yeah. Well, it's the first one from the left, so you can't miss it. Anyways, be back soon. And with that, Nem heads towards the kitchen, temporarily leaving you alone in his bedroom. You take a long look around your surroundings now that they're a little calmer while you follow your friend's instructions. There's so much you want to inquire him about once you have a moment to yourselves. You look forward to a long afternoon of fun alongside your friend, hopefully unimpeded by any further distractions. So, while we're here, I wanted to ask. Yeah? Is that a kotatsu? What is a kotatsu? What is a kotatsu? I'm Oh. Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know what that was, but it looks sick. The history of the kotatsu begins in the Muromachi period, or Ashikaga shogunate during the 14th century. It originates with the Japanese cooking hearth. Yeah, it's like a type of bed. It's like, okay, I'm on the Wikipedia right now, like, reading this. And, like, a kotatsu is a low wooden table frame covered by a futon or heavy blanket upon which a table's top sits. Underneath is a heat source, formerly a charcoal brazier, but now electric, often built into the table itself. Kotatsu are almost exclusively in Japan, although similar devices for the same purpose of heating are used elsewhere. Examples, the Spanish brasero or the Iranian corsi. I definitely butchered those names. I probably butchered them. Yeah, that's like sick as fuck. Yeah, it looks sick, doesn't it? Trust me. Playing video games while you lie under it is a totally different experience from what you're used to. Plus, if you turn the heater off, it doubles as a bed. It sounds amazing. I'm glad you finally got one of those. I know it was a dream of yours for quite some time. It's pretty amazing, yeah. It came with the apartment, so I didn't even have to spend $1 on it. Well, aside from the heating. The two of you have been playing and chatting together for quite a while now. It's difficult to tell how long it's been since you first arrived, truth be told. Nem's new fixation appears to be a multiplayer online arena battler called Riders of Revenge, where 50 fighters from various different cultures try to slash, bash, and shoot each other while scouting and looting a slowly shrinking arena. That's just Fortnite! Not quite what you were expecting to spend your whole afternoon on, but you have to admit that the game so far has been pretty fun and interesting. Oh my god. He's literally just playing Fortnite. In, 2222. Your friend already appears to be very experienced in this game, whereas you're still trying to figure everything out. You're doing pretty well for your 5th game. I honestly thought you'd still be fumbling with the controls at this point. I may not play video games as often as you do, but I'm not that bad. It's not my first time playing an action game. True. Besides, the control scheme is basically ported from Masters of Warriors 4. Really? No wonder they feel so familiar. Still, this game is leagues better than MOW4. I've been playing it since day one, and I'm still loving every second of it. Since day one? No wonder you're this good. You gotta be if you want to stay in gold rank for longer than a day. The leaderboards reset so often in this game, it's crazy. Though you have an idea of the importance that rank might have in-game, you are a little too busy on the action to press for more information on it right now. So you're trying to climb the ranks again? Haven't you had enough of getting hard stuck in every online game you play? Hey! You snort at your own joke, in spite of your efforts not to. Though he tries to hide it, you can tell that Drake's quietly smiling about it too. But yeah, I've been making a mad dash for Platinum on stream lately. If everything goes well, I should finally reach it this weekend. On stream? Wait, are you streaming the game live every day? Yeah, started about a week after I first got the game. Yo, what the fuck? I feel called out. Wow, that's awesome. I always knew you had it in you. Uwu number 1 of the day. Yep, I've been waiting forever to begin this career. I couldn't do it back when I lived at my parents' place, but now that I'm all on my own, I can do anything I want. Soon, I'll be able to ditch that job at the Blue Cloth and dedicate myself to streaming for a living. Are you really growing that fast? Well, I'm working on it. Compared to all the other streaming in the game right now, I'm about average in terms of skill and popularity, but I'm improving. I'm sure that once I reach Platinum, everything will fall into place and I can really start developing this hobby into a job. Sounds like Nem really has everything figured out. You're very happy over him finally getting started on his dream career, though you're also a little worried that he might be underestimating just how difficult the road ahead really is. You're not the biggest expert on streaming and such, but you imagine that it normally takes more than just a few months to get big and famous. Even so, knowing everything that Nem's been up to ever since the two of you drifted apart puts a smile on your face. Isaac? You okay? You haven't pressed a button in a while now. Huh? Oh, sorry. It's alright. Doesn't look like there's many people hanging around this area right now. Just try not to do that in the middle of a fight, alright? Of course. As you continue playing through the match, you resume your earlier conversation. So, how's your schedule looking for the next few weeks? My schedule? I don't think I really have one, honestly. I have a couple meetings at Pandora in the next few days, but other than that, I don't really have plans anymore. Really? No school, no job? Nope. And how do you pay rent? Pandora takes care of that, apparently. Wow, you're living the easy life, huh? I wouldn't say it's easy. Let's just say I have different problems these days. Right. An awkward silence follows for a while. How about you come stream alongside me one of these days, then? Huh? Well, what do you mean? You know, hang in the same room, play the same game in front of the same camera. Think of how cool it'd be. Not only would we get to hang out like old times more often, we'd also boost this gig to the next level. Like, no one's ever streamed with the synthetic before. Hell, you rarely see them on the internet in the first place. We could do something really unique here. Just imagine all the great things that would come from a collaboration like this. It's not like you're having issues imagining it per se. It's more so what you're imagining that could be troublesome. Nem, I don't think we should jump into this so carelessly. Why not? I mean, it'd be a really cool thing to do, don't you agree? There are several major problems with that. There's several. It would be cool, yeah, but I think you're getting a little ahead of yourself. What do you mean? Most people's opinion on me is pretty bad, Nem. They think that I'm a walking engine of mass destruction, remember? I didn't forget how you looked at me the first time you saw me back at the cafe. You immediately feel remorse over your thoughtless comment, though before you can apologize, the dragon has already replied. Yeah, that is a big thing. Yeah, I remember that too. I guess I can't blame you for not wanting to do this with me. I didn't say that, I just think we should consider all the implications before we start planning something of this magnitude. For one, we don't know how people will react to an initiative like this. Sure, people will flock to your channel, but plenty of them will not do so to praise you or your gameplay. You'll be bombarded daily with insults and threats by idiots who will now associate you with Pandora and the Synthetic Project for the rest of your life. Come on, you know I can handle a few haters. I've been playing with screaming children since I was 5. I'm used to being called names online. What about offline then? I doubt all of these people will be content with just expressing their dissatisfaction in your comments. Some of them will find out your real name, others your phone number. Then your city, your address, your family's address. Upon hearing the latter part of your consideration, Nem's expression significantly darkens. I'm just saying, there would be consequences, alright? Not just for you, for all of us. Given the situation and what's at stake, we can't just do whatever crosses our minds without giving it a second thought like we used to. After giving it some more time and more thought in silence, Nem begrudgingly agrees with you. Yeah, I get it. I guess I didn't think of everything after all. I honestly didn't think I'd be dragging my parents and my sister down with me as well. Had it only been me, I wouldn't have cared, but... The dragon takes a deep, unsatisfied breath. It's clear that he didn't expect this conversation to become this serious so quickly. Maybe you're right. It really was a dumb idea. I didn't say that. You quickly interrupt your friend, not wanting to end the conversation on such a sour note. What do you mean? Look, I really want to try and help you out. Personally, I think this is a wonderful idea. All I'm saying is that it's not something we can just come up with and put into practice the next day. Hanging out with George earlier taught me that I can't just do whatever I want whenever I want anymore. Everything I do has consequences for more than just me now. I owe it to him, you, and the rest of my friends to keep you as safe as can be. I don't fear idiots anymore, but if something were to happen to you, You chase that thought out of your head before you can make a scene in front of Nem. I'll talk about this with Mary and the others later, see if there's anything they can do. I don't want to give you false hope, but I'm sure she'll do everything she can to try and make this happen. Really? You'll do that for me? Of course. Either way, though, with or without my help, I'm sure you'll achieve all your dreams in the end, friend. Without warning, the Drake leaps off his seat and gives you the tightest hug you've received since you left the Gazelle's place, which, truth be told, wasn't all that long ago to begin with. Thanks, Isaac. I'll make it up to you. I promise. Hey, no need to do that. You know I don't like when people feel indebted to me. Too late. I'm going to stuff your house full of video games, and posters, and chocolate, and... Weren't you struggling with your rent just a little while ago? Aside from Nem's obvious hyperbole and the improbable promises, you have to admit to yourself that doing something like this would be pretty cool. You never did anything in front of a camera, aside from blowing some candles on your birthday cakes. You wonder if it truly would be as simple as just playing with your friend like usual. And speaking of... we forgot about the game. A massive "you died" message appears on both of your screens. If you had to guess, it has probably been staring you down since well before you began talking about Nem's idea. Welp, thank goodness this isn't ranked. Either way, I'm sorry for distracting us both with this talk. I said I wouldn't do it again, but then... Whoa, are you really apologizing for that? Come on, I was the one who started that discussion, wasn't I? The dragon lets go of his controller, grabs his phone, and heads towards an inflatable mattress on the other side of the room. He throws himself on top of the makeshift bed back first, and his fall is quickly stopped by a sea of cute dolls and plushies that were also resting on top of it. How about we take a break? You've been playing that game non-stop for a while now. It doesn't appear like he's giving you much room to protest. He's already scrolling through his phone at the speed of light, and it doesn't seem like he'll be willing to get up anytime soon. Yeah, let's take a break. You decide to take a more comfortable seat yourself, so you find a warmer spot by the Kotatsu opposite the dragon's mattress. You sure you don't want to get comfy under the Kotatsu? It's awesome down there, I promise. I don't doubt that, it's just that cold and hot don't really mean a whole lot to me anymore is all. Oof, that's kind of rough. Well, the offer still stands if you feel like trying it out later. And I appreciate that. Thanks, Nem. No problem. After a brief pause, likely spent diving through his social media, Drake eventually resumes the conversation. So, you mentioned your cousin earlier. What happened with him after all? Oh, that. Well, I called the number you gave me. He answered. We chatted for a while. Then I went to his new place and hung out with him for the last few hours. Wow, sounds like you had a fun afternoon. It definitely beat the morning, that's for sure. Either way, I really should thank you for what you did. Had it not been for you, I might have never gotten to talk to George again. You don't need to thank me. I just handed you a number. You're the one who did everything after that. Speaking of, how come you had that number in the first place? I don't recall ever giving you George's number. And even if I did, his parents got him a new one not that long ago. Believe it or not, I was going on a hike a few weeks ago with a couple of friends that work near Tulipper Peak. Just a fun excursion with friends with a picnic on the side. You know, living the life. At some point, a gazelle kid approached us and asked if I was your friend. I mentioned that I used to be your friend, so he handed me his phone number and asked me to pass it along to you in case we ever saw each other again. I see. I'm surprised you didn't laugh him off on the spot. I mean, I was dead to you at the time. Yeah, it was a pretty strange request. I had half a mind to refuse myself, but something in his eyes told me he was serious, and that got me thinking. I was dead certain that you were long gone by then, but what if he knew something that I didn't? What if there really was a chance I'd get to see you again? I don't know how he knew you ended up as a synthetic, but that promise I made him definitely made it a lot easier to realize it was really you back at the cafe. He didn't know I became a synthetic. He just guessed that something was off from the way my family reacted to my death. Really? What happened to make him think that? Well, though it hurts to recall that bitter memory, you tell your friend everything the Gazelle confided in you. They did what? Holy fuck. Yeah, I can't believe they gave up on me so quickly. It was heartbreaking to find out. I can imagine. I'm so sorry about that, Isaac. You don't have to apologize. Even if you hadn't realized I was me back at the cafe, at least you gave me a shot. They didn't give me so much as that. Do you want to talk about it? You take a long sigh in spite of how useless such a thing is for you at this point. Between Bradbury making you question whether you are the person you claim to be and your family making you question whether that person was ever loved at all, your head has become an absolute mess of doubts and regrets. Though it'd be nice to vent it all on Nem like old times, you currently don't feel anywhere near strong enough to tackle this discussion with him. Even if he deserves to know that he may not be talking with the real Isaac after all. How about we go back to that picnic you were having the other day? Was Daphne there? Though the Drake is happy to change the subject, his answer isn't as positive. Nope. I tried to get her to come with us numerous times, but she turned us down at every turn. I don't get why she's so mean. I mean, I was inviting her to a day out for crying out loud. Well, she doesn't exactly strike me as the sort of person who'd readily agree to something like this. Well, sucks to be her. We had a lot of fun and we played tons of games and ate the biggest cakes, and she had none of it. So aggressive about it. So aggressive about it. Sometime after that half comedic outburst, the dragon's expression sours once again. And let me move my microphone closer. Here we go. I hope she'll come to the next. Nem. You're not sure why the Drake is so keen on hanging around the human girl, given the sort of crowd she seems to attract at work. Filter's touching the thing. I'm trying to adjust this in such a way that the filter doesn't touch the microphone itself. There we go. But you can't imagine this interest coming from anywhere but a good place. Nem's been nothing but nice with you over the years, and you believe that he merely wishes to extend this kindness towards his coworker as well. It'd be rude of you not to try and help him with this endeavor. How about this? I'll talk to her the next time I see her, and see if I can't do something about that. You will? Yeah. Turns out that I live a couple of floors beneath her, so getting a hold of her shouldn't be that hard. I even had dinner at her place just yesterday. You had dinner? At her place? How did you even get her to invite you? Well, long story short, she didn't. It was her brother who did. She has a brother? She never said anything about that at work. Really? Not even a single word? Nope. For all I knew, she was all on her own. I see. Well, I guess it's not as strange as I thought, all things considered. I don't imagine you go telling everyone at work about your sister either. Fair point. So, you're going to try and talk to her? Sure. I might as well. See if I can't convince her to ease up on you or something. Which, considering everything she said about her coworker back at the cafe, shouldn't be too difficult. That's awesome! Thanks, Isaac. Whoa, don't thank me yet. I haven't even done anything. I know, but it's the thought that counts. As the two of you smile at each other yet again, you feel thankful that you can once again enjoy each other's company like this once again. The last few weeks have been full of uncertainty and confusion, and, for the most part, your head's still full of worries and dilemmas. However, this emotion you feel while surrounded by the people you love, whom you've known all your life, it truly does feel like you're back to being nothing more than just one of them, if only for a moment. Isaac? Isaac, can you hear me? A familiar girlish voice intrudes on your thoughts once again. Natalie, what's up? You make sure to keep your figurative lips sealed as you answer the Labrador's query in your head. You don't want Nem to react to her presence the same way George did, after all. I just got a message from Mary. Her helper suddenly stops herself mid-sentence, seemingly without a reason. Never mind, it's a long story. I'll tell you later. For now, just know that your apartment's all good if you want to head back home. They finished the searches and repairs a while ago, so there's no fear that anyone's going to be there when you return. I see. Well, thanks for warning me. I was planning on staying here for a little longer, though. Really? Did you have plans with your friend to have dinner together, then? Dinner together? Not at all. Why? What time is it again? 7:45. 7:45. Really? Time truly did run out faster than you could have imagined. Isaac? Everything alright? And you forgot about Nem. Again. You're not good at managing conversations on two fronts, it seems. Sorry, I just realized that it got pretty late all of a sudden. Did it? The dragon gives a brief look to his phone, then sighs at what he sees. Yup, it did alright. Sorry, I've been on my phone all this time, but I never thought to look at the time. It's alright, Nem. I didn't notice that either, and I have a computer in my head. Or something like that. So, what are we gonna do? I don't know. I mean, I'd gladly have you over for dinner, but I'd feel pretty embarrassed serving you instant noodles with discount soy sauce. That's all you have? Yeah. Had to make quite a few sacrifices to get an apartment this nice. But hey, the Katatsu's definitely worth the investment, and I can live on cheap food for a while until I get my bearings. You certainly wouldn't mind eating whatever Nem can afford to share with you, even if it's just cup noodles. However, you feel as though the dragon deserves better than whatever he can scrounge at the supermarket's discount aisle for dinner. What if we went to a restaurant downtown instead? A restaurant? I don't think I could afford that. It's okay. I'll pay for you. I never invite you anywhere only to leave you to pay the bill. In spite of your promises, your friend remains unconvinced. I don't know. It'd still be pretty embarrassing knowing I could only afford to eat out just because you're there. Nem, you don't... It's alright. I get paid next Sunday, so we can totally arrange something by then. You can still cover for me if you wish, but at least that way I won't feel like I'm taking advantage of you. You're quite unsure about the dragon's wishes yourself, and you can't fathom why he'd feel this way all of a sudden. But you try your best to respect his decision nonetheless. Are you sure you're going to make it through next week on cup noodles and the likes alone? Hey, my diet's not that bad. I just have very limited cash right now is all. I'll get by. Don't worry about that. Thanks for ordering, though, and for giving me a reason to go somewhere next Sunday. No problem. I guess I'll just head home then. You give Natalie the all-clear to call you a ride while you finish up your conversation with the Drake. So, what are you going to do once you get home? Not much. Probably head straight to bed and get ready for tomorrow. Why? I thought you didn't have any plans. Well, true, but I should still try to do everything I can to wake up early, just in case Mary wants to talk or anything like that. You only now realize that you never really told Nem much about your friends over at the company. Oh, sorry. I guess I never told you about her, huh? Well, Mary's kind of the director of the synthetics project, right? I've heard about her. Really? When? Come on, Isaac. She's all over the internet these days. She was literally on the New Herald just yesterday. Oh. Right, I remember now. Plus, it's not like she was a total nobody before it either. Apparently, she's been working at Pandora Laboratories for several decades. Several decades? I don't think she was that old. The wonders of modern cosmetic surgery, I guess. It's basically rich people magic. Is that why you never seem to grow up past 3rd grade? Hey, that's a low blow. Uwu number 2. You chuckle at your little joke while the dragon regains his composure. Besides, I'm not that rich. My parents kind of are, and my sister's on her way as well. Meanwhile, I'm still stuck at a low-end job while feeding on cup noodles, remember? I know. I was joking. Still, that lady's probably on a whole other level. Have you seen her curriculum? She's practically a superhuman. 4 degrees, 7 masters, multiple groundbreaking books published, and that was before she was even 30. Your boss is practically a one-lady lab crew. More like a one-lady company. Or half company, at least. Pretty much. How did you even get in contact with someone like that? Don't imagine you applied to become a synthetic anywhere. To be honest, I didn't. Before you can explain yourself, your friend quickly brushes you off as he shakes his head. Never mind, forget about that. It's been 10 minutes or something, and I'm still here wasting your time. I should probably let you leave by now. You're not wasting my time, Nem, though it is true that I did already call a mover a while ago. Really? When did you find the time to do that? Again, you hesitate to tell him about your handler for some reason. It's complicated. Well, I'm sure we can just catch up on all this stuff the next time we see each other. Right. I'll try to get a hold of Mary for that stream offer by then as well. And that thing with Daphne as well. Awesome. I can't thank you enough, Isaac. You don't have to, Nem. Take care, alright? Of course. Here, let me accompany you to the door. As you cross the threshold of the tiny dragon's apartment, you turn around and see him waving at you happily from the living room. See you soon, Isaac. You too, Hit me up whenever you have time. You know I'm lonely without you. You're not sure whether you're meant to laugh or be embarrassed by that comment, so you end up doing both as you begin to head upstairs. As your heart yet lingers in the Drake's joyous and colorful bedroom, you cast one final goodbye in its direction before beginning the slow ascent to street level. As you step outside, you're once again greeted by the cold breeze that stalks this rural town at night. The road is practically full of cars heading back home after a long work shift, while the sidewalks are accompanied by adults and teenagers alike who are either heading back to their apartments or leaving for the night. In spite of how busy your surroundings seem to be, your driver appears to be nowhere in sight. Seeing as though you appear to have some time to yourself, you decide to resume your earlier conversation with your handler. Hey, Nats. You hear the Labrador perk up from under her desk, shuffling some papers around as she does so. Yes? What's up? What was it you wanted to tell me about? We're on our own now, so we might as well get that out of the way. What was it? Oh, that! Sorry, almost slipped my mind. Are you sure you want me to tell you right now? I thought that maybe you wanted to wait for the car to arrive. It's alright. Doesn't really make a difference either way, does it? Besides, it's not like I have a whole lot to do while I wait. Your friend takes some time to gather her thoughts, but ultimately she decides to answer your query. I see. Well, here's what's up. You remember what happened this morning, don't you? With that FBI agent? You briefly shudder as you recall that dreadful time alongside the twisted canine fellow. Yeah, I remember. Did something happen with him? Did he come back to my place while I was away or something? Not really, it's... Look, do you remember what happened after he left? After he left? Quite a lot happened after that, truth be told, though you assume your helper only wants you to mention what happened directly following that heated exchange. Well, Jasper ordered Mary to blast the whole building with an EMP, wanting to fry all the equipment they had planted in my house or something. Yeah, Mary told me what happened earlier. Mr. Morgan previously sent in a team to get your place fixed up and remove all the extraneous electronics from the premise. I know that. I was there when that happened, remember? You hear the Labrador loudly smack her forehead as she replies to your sarcastic quip. Oh, right. Sorry. I've been a klutz all day, huh? Well, Mary got the results of their search a while back, so she wanted me to relay the info to you as soon as possible. I see. Well, what is it? Well, they didn't find any hidden spying equipment in your apartment. They didn't? Nope. No cameras, no wires, no nothing. It's possible that they tampered with your PC, but with everything fried, it's impossible to tell. Natalie's revelation is quite stunning, to say the least. You're lost for words as you try to wrap your head around this new piece of information. That makes no sense. Why approach me in my apartment, then? What do they have to gain from that whole exchange other than getting me pissed off? Nobody knows. All we can say for certain is that your apartment is as clean as can be. Though you're still entirely clueless as to those agents' true goals and motivations behind their actions, you're certain of one thing at least. That EMP blast was entirely pointless, and so is the wanton destruction it caused to your friend's apartment. If before you felt awful for causing trouble to the entire complex, now you feel even worse knowing the futility of that endeavor. You probably shouldn't feel this way, you reason. You didn't give the order, nor was it you who caused this situation in the first place. In spite of that, however, they also installed some additional security measures, so you should be able to sleep without fear of those jerks sneaking back in your room tonight. Natalie's words take you completely by surprise as they restore you from your trance. Wait, what kind of security measures are we talking about again? No, you know, the usual, or something like that. Mary wasn't very specific with the details. Something about the dog's tone doesn't strike you as particularly convincing. Well, As long as the door doesn't explode every time I bring someone else over to my place, I guess I don't mind a little extra protection. Noted. I'll tell Mary to disable that feature later then. Wow. Wait. You're joking, right? Do you not want her to remove it then? That's not what I said, and you know it. You're almost certain that the Labrador, who's now losing herself in hysterics, wasn't quite being serious with you just now. However, this comically exaggerated exchange was exactly what you needed to forget about your self-loathing thoughts, if only for a moment. You're not quite sure of whether she was aware of those when she began this lighthearted banter or not, but you're thankful for her saving input nonetheless. Oh, there's your mover. Right on cue, you notice a large black car moving uncharacteristically steadily towards you. If its speed wasn't a telltale sign enough, the company plate on the front makes it clear that this is your ride home. Strangely, you see the car park a little ways off from where you're currently standing, almost as if trying to avoid you. You sure that's my driver? I'm checking the plate. Yep, that's the one. Alright, then here goes nothing. You make a few tentative steps towards the black car, still feeling a little uncertain. However, before you can even reach the midway point between you two, it suddenly gets off the sidewalk and starts driving down the road even faster than the surrounding speed demons. What just happened? You think you have a pretty good idea. You didn't tell them a synthetic was going to be the passenger, did you? No, but the driver probably didn't realize that either. As soon as they figured out I was going to be on board with them, they panicked. That jerk! The nerve of that guy! Natalie sounds really upset upon hearing your theories, more so than she's ever been before. I'm leaving the worst review ever on their page. Some help they were. You know what? I'm gonna go talk to a friend of mine from the company, see if they can't do anything about... Don't. Your refusal comes across so sternly that even the Labrador is taken aback. Isaac? It's fine. I was planning on heading home on foot anyway. I've had a good day so far. Let's not end it on a sour note just because of one idiot. It's a flimsy excuse, even you realize that. Surely so does your canine assistant. And yet, she seems willing to believe it, at least for the time being. Alright, if you say so. Thanks, Nats. Without sharing another word, you begin the long trek to your solitary apartment complex after giving one last look to Nem's own. It's been such a long day and so much has happened since you first woke up. You have quite a lot to think about, both in the good and the bad. Government agencies, conspiracies, prejudiced assholes of all kinds, but also tender moments alongside your friends and rediscovered family. As you let yourself disappear in the maze of roads before you, you wonder what could possibly happen in the future to top this all off. You awaken in your bedroom once again after who knows how long, sitting in the strange contraption you now call a bed. Your memories of last night are fairly blurry. You recall your uneventful trip from Nem's condo to your own, your muffled steps down the stairs as you reached your floor, you bidding your friend goodbye for the night. Your umpteenth attempt at crying yourself to sleep on the couch. Yesterday was more eventful than you could have ever imagined, a roller coaster of emotions that had you gripping the edge of your seat all the way through. Though it was full of pleasant memories alongside your friends and family, it was also full of reminders that you're now more lonely and despised than ever. Definitely not a nice thought to wake up to, all things considered. You've half a mind to go right back to sleep when you noticed a strange feeling. Rather, a strange thought bugging you the wrong way. Is this a message? Hey there, kiddo. Call me whenever you wake up, alright? I got big plans for today I want to discuss with you. The message appears to have been sent by Mary at about 8 a.m., which was 2 hours ago already. Seems like Natalie spoke the truth when she said she's made your notifications a lot less intrusive. You didn't even notice you'd received a message, busy as you were dreaming about who knows what. Seems like Pandora, or at the very least your friends in the science division, aren't lying when they say they care about you. Either way, what could Mary want from me on a weekend? As curiosity gets the best of you, you decide to call her back while you head to the living room, for once untouched by your routine feelings of hunger and thirst. The Siamese's phone is already ringing by the time you sit down on your couch. It turns out that Mary's number, alongside many others from the company, had already been pre-registered in your database in case you ever needed it. All you needed to find it was applying what Natalie taught you 2 days earlier. Among your contacts, there are numerous scientists you don't recall talking to, some engineers you never had a chance to meet, and of course, plenty of lawyers. Seems like Jasper's number isn't on the list, though. Probably for the better. You cannot imagine a situation where you'd want to. Oh, hey, sleepyhead. Finally got that message, haven't you? You can't even finish your thought before Mary picks up the phone, her voice ever cheerful even on an early weekend morning. Hey, everything alright? Of course. Why do you ask? You don't usually send me messages this early in the morning. If anything, I do. Ha! Don't worry, I'm alright. I was just wondering if you had any plans for the rest of the day. You're a little surprised by your sudden request. Not really, no. Why? Oh, you know, I thought it'd be cool to invite you over to the labs and hang out for a while. Hang out for a while? Hold on. You're at the labs? Don't tell me you work on weekends as well. The cat cannot help but laugh at your apprehensive remark. Yeah, but don't worry. Nobody's forcing me. When I'm doing my own thing instead of filing another dumb report for Jasper, I find working and studying rather pleasant. Well, that's certainly a relief. If only a little uncommon. Though you can't say you're surprised, given that Natalie said something along those lines yesterday as well. But I don't have a lot to do today either way, and it's been a while since we last chatted for chatting's sake. I was wondering whether you'd be down for some fun time together, no strings attached. What exactly is your definition of fun times together? Oh, don't sound so scared. Just your regular chat between friends. Maybe in the midst of a quick tour around the place. Didn't you already show me around the building sometime after I first woke up? Yet more chuckling from the scientist's side of the call. Oh, that little snippet of my workplace could hardly be considered a tour. After all, I didn't even get to show you our actual synthetic laboratories. I thought you might be interested in seeing the environment where we came up with, studied, and experimented with the idea of synthetics. Figured it'd help clear some of the doubts in your head about the project and yourself. Though you're a little uncertain about the idea of heading back to New Relay so soon, especially after reconnecting with Nem and George again after so long, you have to admit that the cat does make a valid proposal. After all the nonsense Bradbury tried to put in your head yesterday, and the doubts and fears you've faced ever since, maybe a brief lesson on synthetics is exactly what you need to regain your composure. Plus, Mary still owes you a ton of answers regarding Bradbury, his bodyguard synthetic, and the role the FBI plays in all this mess you got yourself into. And besides, small talk with Mary is oftentimes pleasant just by itself. Deal. When would you like me there? Whenever you wish. This isn't a formal invite or anything of the sort, so you can take your time if you have other things to do. I was thinking we could continue our conversation over lunch, though, so maybe we could meet up in the next 2 hours or so? Sounds good to me. I'll make sure I don't have anything else I need to take care of first. Then I'll get on a train to New Relay and make my way to the labs. The Siamese sounds very pleased with your eagerness. You can't be too sure because you can't see her in the face, but you're fairly certain that she's smiling on the other side of the call right now. Alright then, I'll see you later. Be sure to call for me when you're at the lobby. I'll come and grab you as soon as I'm free. Roger that. I'll see you soon. And with that, the call is over just as quickly as it started. You take a deep, long breath. You weren't quite expecting things to turn out this way, but you can't say you're too displeased with your new plans for the day either. Though you were looking forward to chatting with your cousin and your old friend again, spending the morning at the labs with Mary doesn't seem like a waste of your time. In fact, it could prove quite beneficial. Besides, you can just hit them up in the afternoon once you get back. There's no reason to plan anything with them so early on in the day. Feeling quite happy with your present arrangements, you make your way out of your apartment and get ready to begin your long journey to the labs. As you exit your apartment, you realize you still haven't heard from your dutiful handler. You're not sure whether Natalie's sleeping right now or is hard at work at the labs like her superior, but you find it strange that she didn't tell you which one it'd be earlier. Then again, if she didn't, it's probably because she's taking the day off like a reasonable person and didn't expect you to second guess it. You could call Mary again and ask just to be safe, but in the end, you decide to take it easy and simply head to Pandora's HQ like you planned. You make your way across the hallway, then hop on the elevator. You're still a little worried it might freak out like the other day and take an eternity to deliver you to the lobby. But you trust that Jasper's team took care of that problem well enough in your absence yesterday. The elevator does indeed feel much faster as it travels up a floor, then another, then suddenly slows down much to your surprise. Ha ha! The doors open, revealing a familiar visage staring at you from the hallway. She almost doesn't seem to notice you until she's fully stepped inside, and when she does... Isaac? She seems a little surprised to see you there. That's probably due to her grogginess. She doesn't appear to have slept all that well last night. Hey, Daphne, how are you doing? Oh, don't get me started. Worst fucking night of my life. Dear Lord, what happened? Came back home from overtime to find out the entire apartment had been zapped by something while I was away. Whole building got wrecked, apparently. It was a disaster. Oh, she's referring to that. You'd almost forgotten about that EMP Mary unleashed on the whole building yesterday. Again, you cannot help but feel a little responsible over what happened, and the human immediately notices your expression of guilt. You knew about it? Yeah. The whole building was hit by an EMP that fried all the electronics in the building. Put my whole apartment out of commission, too. Luckily, Pandora, of all corporations, stepped in to fix that mess. I think they had everything repaired or replaced by night. Sorry about that, by the way. I thought I'd tell you back at the bar, but you left before I could mention it. I see. The human looks a little dejected all of a sudden, as if remorseful over something. But that feeling doesn't last long. Either way, I'm glad that you and Apollo got out of it unscathed, at least. Electronics can be replaced, but people? Not so much. You weren't expecting Daphne to worry about you like that, but you smile at her unexpected kindness nonetheless. Truth be told, there are other things you could have shared with her regarding this incident. But they'd take too long to explain to cover a short elevator ride. Speaking of, you quickly press the button leading to the main lobby on the ground floor, since the doors behind Daphne had yet to close. As the doors slowly close shut, the girl snorts and shakes her head at your actions. Thanks. This whole morning's been a mess. I'm not used to waking up early on the weekends. I think I still have a foot or two stuck in dreamland. Don't mention it. Just trying to be of help. The girl reciprocates her helpfulness with a faint smile of her own, seemingly relieved. Though the two of you felt somewhat distant yesterday, back at the cafe, it appears that things between you have improved somewhat. A pleasant silence fills the air until you reach the main lobby a few floors up. As you leave the elevator, you can't resist the urge to ask the girl a few more questions, if only for the fun of it. So, since you say you're usually still sleeping at this hour, where are you going all of a sudden? The train station. I need to take a ride to New Relay. Your shock at Daphne's words is so evident, it stuns even her in place. Wait, you're heading to New Relay too? Too? You're also going? Yeah, Noticing that both of you ask each other questions begging long-winded answers, Daphne sighs as she begins to answer yours. Like you said earlier, my apartment got cleaned up of all the mess by the time I had arrived. Had Apollo not told me about what happened, I might have never realized it. Uh-huh. That doesn't seem to explain anything, though you'd wager it's because your friend isn't quite done with her explanation. Or that would have been the case had those idiots not forgotten to replace my damn console. Stupid thing still can't boot up for shit. Oh no. That sucks. Yeah, you can say that twice. I immediately sent in a complaint to the number they gave Apollo, and they said they'd send in a replacement today. Problem is, the dude who was in charge of delivering it here got sick at the last minute, so the console's still stuck at an electronics store in New Relay. What a mess indeed. Daphne truly cannot seem to catch a break. I see. And you don't feel like waiting a couple more days, I take it? Hell no! By the time I get it, I'll have to hook up all the peripherals again, re-download my games and everything. And I don't feel like doing all that after a full day of dealing with those pricks at the bar. I can imagine. So, you're going to New Relay to fetch the console by yourself? Pretty much. Might as well take care of that now rather than tomorrow when all the stores are closed. Besides, if I don't waste any time, I should be back by midday, right in time for lunch. Apollo's food is even tastier when you don't know what he's going to be cooking beforehand. You don't have any trouble believing that. It sounds like your friend has her day all planned out. What about you? What brings you to New Relay? I'm not sure, honestly. One of my friends over at Pandora invited me over for a tour of the place, and maybe lunch later on. I figured I might as well show up since I don't have much else to do. I see. I guess you gotta keep in touch with your friends from time to time, huh? Especially when they work at the company that made you. Something like that. The words made you sound a little more unsettling to you given their implication, but you decide to let a remark slide right for now out of fear of ruining the mood. Well, I guess we can head there together then. Take the same ride there, then split up at the train station. I think the journey will be a lot less boring, with a big android like you by my side. Really? You want me to follow you? It's not like you're opposed to the idea in the slightest. In fact, you think it'd be pretty fun to hang out with Daphne for a while. You're merely surprised at the request is all. You definitely didn't expect her, of all people, to suggest something like this. Yeah, you got a problem with that? Though the girl sounded serious in her delivery, in your heart, you assume she's merely messing with you. Of course not. Why would I? Besides, you're the one asking for trouble hanging around someone like me in public. You might just get yelled at very aggressively if you aren't careful, like those 2 officers who fainted on me the other day. The girl cannot resist laughing at your ironic remarks, a cocky smile on her face. Oh, I'm supposed to be worried about hanging out with you? Give me a break. Now let's get moving already. The train's waiting for us, and I'm getting sick and tired of this musty old lobby. Right. Lead the way. Oh, and by the way, what's this thing about you yelling at police officers? Oh, you're interested in that? Well, where do I begin? The 2 of you are in remarkably good spirits as you leave the condo behind, still busy chatting about your past exploits. You're not sure what twist of fate led the 2 of you to spend some time together on this otherwise unremarkable morning. But you definitely feel as though the trek to the train station will be a lot more fun with someone like her laughing alongside you. The streets are more crowded than usual, in spite of a relatively early hour. Everyone's out and about enjoying their weekend, hanging out with friends, or simply strolling about without a care in the world. You and your friend entertain a lengthy conversation as you make your way to your destination, which seems to have the human particularly amused. You really said that to an officer? Daphne can hardly believe you as you finish recounting the incident with the authorities from the other day. Yeah. In hindsight, maybe I was a little... Damn, that's pretty cool. I'm impressed. Though it's wholly in character, you can't help but be a little shocked by the amazed look in your friend's eyes. You are? Of course I am. Anyone who says that kind of stuff to a policeman is good in my book. Honestly, I didn't have you pegged as a rebellious type. Though I gotta say, I'm pleasantly surprised. You're not sure whether rebellious is a particularly accurate word to describe yourself or your actions. Reckless is perhaps more fitting. Daphne doesn't seem to mind one way or the other. Whether you did it out of bravery or stupidity, she seems to appreciate your small victory over the local authorities no matter how meaningless it may be. Either way, I'm surprised you'd heard nothing of this incident before. It was all over the news the other day. Yeah, well, I'm not the sort of person that likes to keep in touch with the news all the time. Really? How come? Well, for one, I can't really bring myself to care about which American top model hooked up with which British royal that day. I have more important things to worry about on a day-to-day basis. Namely, how to take care of Apollo and myself. I see. I suppose you don't really care about real-world events, so long as they don't involve you or your family. Pretty much, yeah. Like I said, it's not a thing for me. Still, isn't that a little reductive? It can't be that bad. Hard disagree. All the channels pump up the same mediocre crap. I can't recall the last time I heard a journalist speak and felt like I'd learned anything useful. Or like I'd managed to keep all my brain cells intact, for that matter. Huh. I see. You've never heard anyone speak so harshly of the news before. What reason could she have to be so jaded? Well, I still give them a glance every once in a while. I think it's important to stay updated on what's going on in the world around you. And besides, sometimes you stumble onto some pretty cool stuff. My friend Mary was interviewed the other day while I was returning home from New Relay, and she had a lot of cool stuff to say about synthetics. Well, I'm sure it's nothing I can't learn just from interacting with you. You're a little stunned by the amount of confidence in your friend. Your friend is showing to you right now. Is she trying to say that she trusts you? Either way, you're relieved that she feels so comfortable around you. It's definitely a nice reprieve. From all the awful stares you're receiving from the locals as you traverse the city. Whether the onlookers are young or old, men or women, everyone seems to have a reason to stay away from you or whisper behind your back. Your friend seems to have picked up on the tension around you just as quickly as you did, and isn't afraid to voice her thoughts on the matter. God, won't these losers just get a hobby or something? Fuck. You're no stranger to being stared at in fear or worse everywhere you go. You're slowly starting to accept that as a part of your experience living as a synthetic. But these people aren't just treating you like that. They seem to be showing the same kind of contempt towards your friend too. It is disheartening to say the least. I guess I shouldn't be surprised about this kind of reception. I am public enemy number 1 on a lot of people's minds right now. Shouting out those cops the other morning definitely didn't help. The girl appears more than a little surprised by your interjection, almost like she didn't expect you to speak up at all right now. Eventually, however, she reverts to her regular annoyed look as she tries to reassure you. You say that like what you did wasn't totally justified. If teaching those jerks some manners means being on this idiot's shit list, I'll be glad to have my name written right next to yours. Or I would be glad about that if it wasn't already there for different reasons. You're not sure how you're meant to interpret that stray thought of hers. Is she trying to say that she's been in your shoes before? Did you have some bad experiences with the police as well? The girl seems a little confused by your question, almost as if it were a non sequitur. However, it doesn't take her long to shake that thought out of her head and reply to your query as usual. We're gonna leave off here tonight. Before I forget, To the Sky update releases tomorrow. Not much else can be said, so stay safe, have a good night, and I will see you all tomorrow.